Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome to work all across Nigeria. It's the first day of the week, even though it's Wednesday. That's because of the festivities that we had. Interesting fireworks, coming from, messages, solemn messages. As you recall, presidential messages, messages from other leaders. The president was pretty, hard-hitting on, the way we've run our affairs in the past. Being in large measure responsible for where we are now. But that's not our focus this morning. The president has been told by the opposition that, why don't you guys stop grumbling and get on with it and all of that. Yeah. So all of that to one side. Our focus this morning, the question is, so beyond oil, because we really have to go beyond oil, what are the options? We just don't have a choice. OPEC is forecasting that there's going to be a further glut, bringing prices down further globally. And if we are saying that one of the main problems we have is the sudden plummeting of the price of oil, then it looks like we've really got to fasten all the belts and be prepared for something of a giddy ride. Well, my guest this morning, financial analyst, lawyer, accountant, Chukwuemeka Eze. Thank you very, very much. Did you want to remove chartered accountant?
I'm not an accountant.
Okay, but you see, when I see a taxation expert, taxation expert and financial analyst and lawyer, none of those ones you are denying. Thank you very much, Chukwuemeka, for coming on. And Malam Moyosore Ahmed Jaji, political affairs analyst. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Welcome. You guys, and welcome from the Salah, especially you, Malam Jaji. Welcome from the festivities. Let me start with you, if I could, Chukwuemeka. We certainly have to begin to look, not that we need to begin, people have been thinking about it, maybe talking about it, but I don't know how much we've been doing about actually sourcing alternatives to an oil-driven economy.
I don't think we are ready for alternatives to an oil-driven economy. Even the oil, we are not doing well. We have not explored oil enough. We have not taken advantage, all the necessary advantages attached to oil. Oil will not go away so easily because a better time is water in the bush.
Yes.
All the options before us that will require diversifying from oil, they are not things realizable on the short run, apart from one or two of them. And I'll give you my reasons. I'll give you an instance. When the president addressed French investors in the third quarter of last year, he told them that the 2016 budget will be diversification budget. Now, in this diversification, we are thinking of agriculture, solid minerals, and the rest. But in this year's budget, agriculture takes 76 billion. That's less than 1.5% of the total budget of 6 trillion naira. How can you be diversifying? And the area you are diversifying into takes less than 2% of the budget. Now, solid mineral, how much was the percentage rate? So it seems to me that is theoretical. We are not serious in diversification because if we want to diversify, we need to have a development plan. Do we intend to have a 10-year diversification plan? In terms of agriculture, this is what we will do. In terms of solid minerals, this is what we will do. The only area that they are taking measures is in the area of taxation, because the Minister of Finance has recently inaugurated the National Tax Policy Review Committee, and they are already sitting in that area, no problem. But we need to look into tourism. We can exploit it so much. This country, we have so much in terms of tourism. So
would manufacturing be asking for too much?
Manufacturing is already there. It is amplifying it. Manufacturing is not absent in this country, but policy flip-flops is killing it. I give you an instance where you want people to help us to invest in manufacturing or in other areas, and within a year, you change your policy 4 times. As we speak, we don't have a direct, nobody is too sure
Confusing active and
what
potential
to expect
investors.
in the next quarter.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to plan.
I don't know, Ahmed. How do you see it? Do you concur? People suggest Japan, for instance. Agriculture. What agriculture do they have to speak of? Yet everybody in the world knows of Japan because you get something from Japan. What are your thoughts?
You see, when you look at Japan and most of those so-called Asian tigers, well, wherever they are today was as a result of, some determined individuals that were just like Jamal Ataturk, that turned Turkey from a very medieval society to the modern society we know it to be today. In Japan, after the Hiroshima bombing and the rest, the leadership got around together. They sat down. How do you tackle this problem? And they first decided on autarky. Autarky is you don't have any dealing with anybody but yourself. You look inward. How do we solve our problems? Like Japan is not. They import nearly everything they use to produce car, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe Japan still ranks as #1 car importing nation in the world. So it all revolves around.
But the manpower development, the intellectual.
That's where I'm coming to. You see, a nation like India now, India is relying solely on IT, technology, and so many other countries like that. So we should not be fixated on agriculture alone. Agriculture, yes, maybe to feed yourselves. Silicon Valley in the United States of America, how much is Silicon Valley contributing to the American growth?
It's interesting you say that because Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy, was in town recently, and he was saying that watch Nigeria. That Nigeria is the future in terms of what he sees the youths doing and the potential that is there, and that word potential comes up. It's used in relation to us quite freely. Potential. When are we going to actually actualize
what our youth are
this?
using that talent for? It's not what Zuckerberg dreamt of when he set up his
Facebook.
Or the other guy, the second richest man or the first richest man,
Bill Gates.
Bill
Gates of Microsoft.
Of Microsoft. They are using this thing to develop their society, but most of our youth, are they using it to develop or for personal aggrandizement, to defraud and whatever?
Well, that's on the peripheral level, but substantially.
That's
he
what I'm saying.
He thinks that there's a coding.
We need a focused leadership.
Okay.
That will direct this latent potentials towards a particular point.
But none of this is going to be easy. As Chukwemeka
nothing comes easy.
It's going to be hard work. And perhaps the greater question might be, Chukwemeka, that are we really yet in the mindset, having made up our minds to make a change? The question has come up in one or two other ways and forms. Yes, but I'm not using the word change in a political way, especially the way the political parties have grabbed hold of it. That's not what I'm saying. But to really change our thinking from things having been handed to us because of our oil, to now having to produce and provide things for ourselves because of a changed thinking.
If you make a little research, you will appreciate that without the enabling environment in the United States of America, we wouldn't have had a Zuckerberg or even Bill Gates.
Yes.
So the enabling environment is why everybody talks about government. There must be somebody to set the ball rolling. There must be somebody to show us the light so that we'll follow. A little research into the economies of other countries, you discover that before the private sector blossoms, the government sets the regulatory framework, the legal framework for these things to happen. They don't just happen.
Tax incentives,
because before people invest in your economy, they look at what's the framework. For instance, if I invest $10 billion in this country, and some people want to take away the money, do they have the legal system that can give judgment without relying on bribe, without relying on one thing or the other, extrajudicial? So they look at this thing, if they discover that, no, that means they will not invest there. So that is where the government comes in. So this diversification, we talk, we mount, we hold conferences, symposia, workshops. There is no governor whose son is engaged in agriculture known to Nigerians. The president, when you look at his children, none is engaged in agriculture. Do you see the president or ministers wearing their hats?
Okay.
And you see them driving tractors. Even the Minister of Agriculture may not be found in any farm. So but he'll be telling you, Grandma, that they will import grasses from Brazil. So you keep hearing of import, grass, cow, grass. Then in this dispensation, when you have the youth who could be driven into mechanical agriculture. Now, no matter what we say, you use what you have to get what you want. In all of African societies, it is still agriculture that is the first port of call. Notwithstanding its addition to the GDP, is very small. As at the last time I checked, 17%. So, but nevertheless, we need to move from subsistence farming to mechanized farming. The reason is that whereas if you open a company, ordinary company, you might employ 150 people. But in a very big farm, you may need 3,500 people. And with that, you will be taking many people away from the streets.
No doubt the folks in Kwara and the government of Kwara at the time,
yes,
they tried this. In fact, they're still in the middle of it, but I don't know how well that has gone.
But
They even went as far as importing, large-scale farmers from other lands.
Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah. That kind of thing is the kind of thing up in Borno. I think they're talking about rice.
Beyond that, there's even a Nigerian, a reverend father, located in Benin Republic. You just cross over from Badagry. Nigerians go to consult him in Benin Republic on agricultural matters and pay him a lot of money.
He's a Nigerian.
Well, he's a Nigerian. Why not go and lobby him to come and open farms here? I mean it.
So it
very
comes back
prominent.
We're coming back to this whole matter about
Republic.
providing the enabling environment for us to get to where we need to be, and what you've referred to as sometimes conflicting policies that don't exactly encourage our investors.
Earlier on, when you mentioned change,
yes,
I repeat, I said change. And
I hastened to say that I'm not talking politics.
No.
We're not talking the political change.
There is no way. I'm a student of Parsonian School of Sociology. Taco Passon is an American sociology. He said the political structure is the superstructure of any society. If you don't get your politics right, you won't get anything right in your society. And it's happening right now in Nigeria. I earlier mentioned Japan, that it was the leadership that got together and they said this is where they wanted to go after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And Japan is there today. China, Chairman Mao and a few others sat down and said this is where they wanted to take China. Today, China is competing seriously with United States of America. It will take time.
In fact, a lot of American products are actually coming out of China.
Yes.
When you look at the small print, you'll find made in China key components. So it means that without those, you couldn't have all the iPhones and all those the gear that you do have.
Before we came on screen, we were talking. I said, Nigerians, we are not ready to get out of the hubris.
Maybe right there, that is the crux of the whole matter. How ready are we? Not just the followership, the leadership as well.
Combine the
two.
Leadership is a reflection of that same society.
Because I don't know, I think paraphrasing what I think I've heard, that change at the beginning is difficult, in the middle it's quite messy, but if you stick it, ultimately it then will be beneficial. What do you think of that particular?
No, as a Muslim, I'll tell you, yes.
What does religion have to do with it?
No, I say as a Muslim.
Yes.
I have that abiding faith
That ultimately,
that after that nothing goes on forever. No pain, no gain.
nothing goes on forever. If you don't do anything about it, confusion can go on for much longer than you
Then
need.
you won't exist, so you don't have hope.
So we have to be sure that
It's
we
a
are
man that is
clear-headed.
alive.
The point I was making is that
It's a man that is alive that will be hopeful.
how clear-headed do you think we are being
The
in our quest?
clear-headedness is being hampered by two vital points, at least in Nigerian society: ethnicity and religion. If you remove these two, factors from our case here, we'll be able to sit down. I will not think of him as an Igbo man. I will look at him first as a human being. What has he got that I can borrow from? He will also look at me as a Yoruba man. What can I offer him? What can we interchange?
It's a very uncomfortable thought.
Anytime you bring it up, they will first ask you.
I was going to say it's a very uncomfortable thought that you're bringing up, because a lot of people might say, what's that got to do with it? Because you yourself know, we often say sometimes that, look, hang on, when it comes to matters that are really important, for instance, Nigeria on the world stage, nobody remembers the Kogi man, the Calabar man. We just think when our boys are out there playing, nobody thinks of what religion the goalkeeper is, what religion.
We can have other considerations. I'll give you an instance. The Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 provided for the medium-term expenditure economic framework, MTEF. The intention is that the country should have 3-year budget, whereas you can stay now and plan. This is how 2017 budget will look like. This is how 2018 budget will look
19.
like. This is how 2019 budget will look like. In those 3 years, you can have a medium-term plan such that you can set the country on a proper pedestal.
But development plans are not unknown to us.
That's what I'm saying.
Through the decades.
That concept is not even known to many people in this country. And nobody puts the government under pressure to have their 3-year expenditure plan. So when they do it at the National Assembly, in fact, when these things are read, people hardly react to pure economics news. They react to corruption, to tribalism and all that. So, and because these areas are not well developed, these economic concepts, so the leadership, they pretend as if
it is well.
Yes.
Mr. Adede, thank you for calling in. Good morning. Okay, we lost that.
So, in this pretense, there is little.
It's like what you just brought out in there, what you just suggested in there, as if there's a sense in which we are sort of self-hypnotizing ourselves into a state of complacency, and that you go better.
If you raise serious issues on the economy, many people
will be lost.
Will be lost. They hardly make useful suggestions. So you leave it for theoreticians, professional economists, lawyers who will blow big grammar and people will not care about it.
Ahmed, do you think that... okay, Mr. Dede is back. Good morning, Mr. Dede.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Good morning to the guests in the house.
Thank you.
I think I agree that with one of the panelists that we have not maximized our opportunities in oil, even as it is today. Because the situation whereby even though we are exporting crude, but we are still importing more than 90% of our local consumption of refined products.
Yeah, but Mr. Dede, sorry to interrupt you. Mr. Dede, sorry to interrupt you. We're saying that, be that as it may, beyond oil, what options?
Yes. I know that there are other options.
That's what we want to explore.
Yes. The options that people have talked about, agriculture, solid mineral, tourism, but I don't believe that these ones can provide immediate palliatives for our economy that is paramount now. I think what is most important for us now, that the best option is to pursue the process of corruption. Because this amount of money that people have stolen over the years is so enormous that if it's only 30% of that money that we can recoup into our economy, things will get better for us as a nation. But unfortunately, this option is going to be very difficult to pursue because the lawyers will make sure this does not happen. Because today, our judicial system is the greatest beneficiary of corruption. And they will frustrate every means by which Nigeria can recoup money that has been stolen back into our economy. So much as there are options that could have been pursued, agriculture, tourism, all these things will not bring immediate relief.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dede. But I was really, and I'm sure you're aware, we're looking at the hypothesis, for example, of, look, oil is out of it. You don't even have oil to lean on anymore. Is Nigeria going to roll over and die? So that's the point. No, it's not going to. But because that is just a hypothesis, it's not going to happen, is why people seem to be saying that even that oil itself, we have not even, we accept that, but is there any hope beyond oil?
No, you see,
and that is why we brought in Japan, for example.
Technology is making oil irrelevant.
Almost.
Gradually.
Almost obsolete.
Yes. So you need to be futuristic about what you are doing as a planner. Mm-hmm. That is why I miss people like Alison Aida, those super permanent secretaries of yore. All the development programs we had from 1960 till the unfortunate military intervention in the 70s, were planned by these people and they are still alive. We should bury our, pride. Go to them. Baba Olesese, how did you do it? Because most of the leaders here now, they don't have what it takes to even lead.
So we become oil junkies.
We are junkies in so many other things.
And so we can't even look anywhere else.
We leave what should be done undone and be chasing shadows.
Mr. Babatunde from Surulere, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your guest there.
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah, I would like to direct my question to Mr. Eti particularly. Please, I want to ask, is it possible for a nation that is strict in recession to say you want to diversify at this time? What is most paramount for us as a nation now is to get ourselves functional economically first. You cannot be reading in recession and be thinking you want to diversify. Is all rules. We are going to go back to square one with all these things our governments are doing. We are talking about agri. How much percentage of the GDP can agri contribute to a nation of over 200 million people? What is so paramount now is how to get ourselves functional, how to get liquidity into our policy, how to get our economy productive again. All these things this present government is saying will not come. We are going to get ourselves in a messed up situation like Greece.
Do you have any ideas, Mr. Babatunde? Do you have any ideas?
Any idea?
Do you have an idea? Any ideas about options to oil?
Yes. Look at. Okay, the emir of Kano said something the other time that even oil only contributes 15% to the GDP. So by saying that, Nigeria economy is not a mono economy. We are dealing with trade and services. Most of these international companies that have brought this foreign funds have gone away because of lack of policy from the present government. Our government now needs to invite specialists, professionals to come and rescue us. They must take away pride, and we need to get our ball rolling now. We should not be talking about diversification now at all.
Okay, Mr. Babatunde, thank you very much for calling in. Painfully there, Mr. Babatunde seems to be suggesting that we don't know what we're about. Let us, eat humble pie and ask people who do know about these matters to come and school us.
Like I said,
that's painful.
Not necessarily schooling. We have them within.
Exactly.
Like before Obasanjo.
But it's the politics that's getting in the way of the effectiveness.
Obasanjo, he had these ideas. Some of these people even told him that if you want to fast track Nigeria's industrial development, make sure that most Nigerian youths are trained in specific, technical business jobs. He packed most of our youths, as at that time I was supposed to be a beneficiary, but a cousin of mine went there. He became a structural engineer. He came back. He was in Romania, but immediately Obasanjo left the scene, the program was cancelled. Imagine rolling over such, training for our. I mean, what we'll be talking.
The skill acquisition that we would have got at that time.
Yes, Lee Kuan Yew did the same thing for Singapore.
You wanted to come into
yes, because see, when we look at these things, we have short term, medium term, and long term.
Sure.
Some of the things we suggest are long term. Some of them are medium term. Some of them are short term. Taking that of short term, you can, for instance, you recall when our economy, when we said it was the largest economy in Africa, and we calibrated it.
Yeah.
Services, 54%. So now you ask yourself, do we still have 54% of services? The answer is no, it has come down. What government policies have made these services to come down? That those who were offering these services have left, most of them have left the country. As we speak today, you are aware that IRIC, First Nation, and Eru are out. Is it only Medview and the other one? They are just Airpeace and one other.
Yes.
So it's only three that will be serving a country of 180 million.
Okay,
so,
one moment, gentlemen. I've got to go on a quick break now. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back and we'll continue to take your calls. Welcome back. What are the options if we didn't have to depend on oil is the recurring conversation that we are having this morning. All sorts of ideas, is it agriculture, is it mineral development, what? Is it intellectual, capacity development? Or before all of that, are the policies on ground sabotaging us? Have we hypnotized ourselves into a false sense of ego better, that kind of an attitude? and here we are, it's not getting better. Even as some people are saying that, even the oil itself, we haven't maximized our, extracting the benefit from it. But we're saying that beyond oil, we leave that because this is not looking good anymore. Proceeds are dropping. And that's where we are now.
Yes, I was on my feet before we went on break.
Okay.
I was treating an issue. As at first quarter of last year, on the list of ease of doing business, out of 189 countries, Nigeria was 131. Today, as we speak, we are 169. It means that the confidence...
Wait a minute, 161?
169.
And just I'm curious, because I didn't see that particular survey report. So who is at number one on list of ease of business, doing business?
The countries. So the implication is that as your ease of doing business worsens, that means you will be losing out in attracting services. And since services contributed 54%,
yes,
as at first quarter of last year, to the GDP, that means it has contributed less. So if you are thinking of the way to maximize the economy, why not even get to where you were as at first quarter of 2015? When you get there, we begin to talk of improvement. But as we speak now, we don't have policies on the ground to get back to where we were.
Okay, one moment, please. Reverend Dominic from Alimosho, good morning, sir.
My friend.
Good morning, Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yori, this is a very, very sensitive issue. But why are we doing this to ourselves? Bala was in your studio 2 weeks ago. He made a telling, issue. Even the petroleum we were talking about, the oil we were talking about, we are not maximizing the oil, even to take care of our domestic needs. If we go to agriculture, are we going to use agriculture or yam or rice to move our vehicles? At least from now to 20 years, this world is still using petrol to move vehicles. And that's the most issue we have here. Can't we meet domestic needs in petroleum, the one we have? Can't we start from the known to unknown? We shut all agriculture, I think we will solve all the whole problem. Does China, based on rice alone, to move their nation? I have an idea. We can industrialize this nation. We have the number. Millions of people are doing nothing. I'm a pastor. Go to churches on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If people doing nothing. If you go to Japan, you won't see anybody on the road. If you go to China, you won't see anybody on the road. There are 1 billion people. Come to Nigeria. Go to a street. There are over 1,000 people running around the street doing nothing. Can't we industrialize? Can't we use petroleum products to meet our local needs? What is the problem today? Remember, an NPP said that an NPC is saying they're going to increase fuel again. What is proper? By 420 naira dollar. Nobody will bought and sell at 145. Can't we meet local consumption? I'm part of this change. I'm becoming uncomfortable with it. The people insult me every day. I did my birthday last week. Everybody that spoke there spoke against me because I was part of the change that bring hunger to this nation. Why are we behaving this way? Let's maximize petroleum products. It can solve some problems before we go to agriculture.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Reverend Dominic.
Maybe, you see, my friend Reverend Dominic, I empathize with him because everybody that is noted for change mantra is on the receiving end now. But that is the sacrifice we need to make. Because, like I said earlier on, no pain, no gain. But how many Nigerians are ready to listen to you if you preach this? Because they see those people that are supposed to be the shining lights of this same crusade living very, very ostentatiously. So it's not a matter of do what I preach, don't do what I do. I want to do what you are doing and at the same time listen to what you are preaching. That is the way Nigeria is now. There is enormous suffering.
No, what you're saying then is, if I understand it, is that, look, now that the change agents have come on board, when you look at it, when you survey the whole terrain, you don't see very much difference, externally at least. You don't see very much difference from what we've always been seeing, right?
If there should be any difference, at least the National Assembly, they took delivery of Prado jeeps and whatever. Is Prado made in Nigeria? Why don't go to Innocent or whatever? If you do that, Nigerians will see that, yes, you are patronizing.
Even though we are assured that, look, a lot of work is going on. It's round the clock, and in the very nature of these things, you don't see it immediately, but be assured it is there. You're saying, without prejudice to that, the externals do not seem to be indicating that.
They are not ready.
Blessing, thank you very much for holding on all this while. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Yorin.
Good morning, ma'am. Go ahead, please. Are you laughing, Madam Blessing?
I think it's communication.
Oh, okay. Your line is, Madam Blessing, can you hear us?
We are going to work.
I'm sorry. See if you could disconnect and try us again, because we're not hearing you. We hear you for 1 second, you drop for 2 seconds. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to bring beyond the sentimental aspects of diversification of the economy. Going straight into the matter, you look at taxation. If you want to look beyond oil,
you think the government is doing well in that regard?
You look at taxation, you look at agriculture, you look at mining, you look at tourism. As we speak now, as much endowed as Lagos is and the whole Southwest, if you get into the international airport, you will not see one tourist company to lobby you to visit any tourist attraction. If you enter Abuja, At the airport, you see beautiful color of Nigeria Tourism Development Commission. But it goes beyond that, you see nothing.
Nothing.
Again.
Nothing about
Nobody
tourism
will
development.
lobby you to follow me, go and visit Yankari Games Reserve. And,
go see.
and Nigerians in droves go to Ghana. And you won't see any wonderful thing in Ghana.
Well,
So,
maybe this is
the-
the orientation that we're talking,
the-
because maybe I was
Because
alluding to it.
Now, this when your leader his son wants to wed, he goes to Dubai, he goes to Qatar. So there is
Charter plane load,
there
free
is no
loaders.
place good enough to wed again in Nigeria. So even weddings,
Even if you wanted an exotic
If-
venue,
yes.
we have exotic venues.
even weddings are now exported. So it has become
Bimbola,
so bad.
Bimbola, thank you for calling in from Ikeja. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Hope
Thank you,
you're
ma'am.
well.
Good morning.
Well, we've been on this road before, and I think it is about a value system. Can you imagine what will make a Nigerian go abroad and follow the laid down systems and procedures of that country?
Good.
Without that fundamentals, we're just going around. We are looking for the next thing to exploit again. If we do not amend our own value system, because once we get it right with our value system, then it will be easy to use the methodology of monitoring, evaluation, and then going back into implementation. Then our policies will be really effective. We won't have a government in place that does not understand the impact of the index of the ease of doing business. They won't, be fighting the issue of supporting the SMEs. They would not have an issue at all with understanding the values of making sure that we all promote Made in Nigeria and we buy Made in Nigeria. One of your guests talked about the Asian tigers, and the Asian tigers and all of them sacrificed. It was a lockdown, deliberate policy to make those systems work. Yeah. So we have all the answers. Unless you're looking for what's next to exploit, without that value system, then it's a joke. And again, the Buhari administration really may have good intentions, but if it is not a trickle-down effect of subnationals, I'm talking about other countries, other states, to the local government, and we all own the change mantra and work with the change mantra, I believe we're just again in circles. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Bimbola from Ikeja. I guess
That's only one thing was missed.
But I even wanted to say that if I had to condense all of that into a one-liner, I think it's talking about the change is internal first. Change in your head first. Have you changed in your head, in your mind, before all of the other ones?
That change in a society of this nature starts from the top. Chinua Achebe, I read his book, The Trouble with Nigeria. And I believe so much in the contents that the major trouble with Nigeria is leadership. There is no way my governor will go to Dubai, whose daughter would have gone to Dubai to engage in wedding.
Because
and you expect me to be operating a different philosophy from that of my leader. Then what is the whole essence of leadership?
Well, what those guys that are going to Dubai and all of those things, just for example, staying on that vertical line, what they are doing is being seen as admirable by some people. What if it was not seen as admirable? What if it was not seen as aspirational?
No. There is no policy that some people don't admire. There is no policy in this world. Hitler was supported by many people. So to say that because some people are admiring it, that's why they should be living that way. Okay, you can see the consequence upon the populace.
Is it?
I think the mindset thing, I think we shouldn't ignore it. That people, I think it has been said here and all over the country that until that change starts from within the mind, we're not going to get
mind of
anywhere.
the leadership. Let's not make it at large.
The leadership and everybody. One moment, please. Let me bring in Chinedum. I beg your pardon. I don't want to lose Chinedum, who has been on the line. Good morning, Chinedum.
Good morning, Mr. Yeri.
Thank you for calling in.
How are you, sir?
Chinedum, good morning. We're waiting for you. I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, sir. I love your discussion this morning.
Okay, Chinedum. Contribute to it, please.
Okay. I want to suggest something. the leaders we have in this country, I want to ask a question. There is a place called Najasem in Karago in Ebonyi State. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Chinedu.
Okay, there is a place called Najasem Cement Company in Ebonyi State, in Karago. It was built by the father of Ojukwu, Louis Ojukwu. And this cement company is owned by the 5 eastern states. Now, the place is dead. We have the largest deposit of limestone in Africa in that place. They share border with Calabar in Ebonyi State. We have the largest field of rice plantation in that area. But the place is abandoned. We are talking of cement that we don't have cement, enough cement to go around in this country. That place is the largest cement factory in Africa, but it's dead. Can't we do something? Can't this government do something? No minister in this cabinet knows that place.
All right then. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. Really, thank you very much, Chinedum, for calling in. We were on the mental aspect of change.
You see, it has to do with mental, well, like the lady that called.
Yes, Bimbola.
You marvel at the way Nigerians behave outside. When you go to New York or even London, we obey all the rules. And there was this case when Fashola built that bridge, suspension bridge, and they put toll. Those who were most vociferous against the toll payment are Nigerians that relocated from America to Nigeria. But the last time I passed that route, I was astounded when I saw long queues of, cars aiming to go through. And I said, well, these not the same people. Somebody living in Ajegunle, for God's sake, Mushin or whatever, has nothing to do with that place. So those people who are highly educated, very, very discernible Nigerians, they know what is at stake. This thing is not new. Payment of toll for a facility like that. But they are the same people that will be telling people that don't mind them, don't pay anything. And the people you are talking to.
There is, in fact, I agree with you entirely, Ahmed, because this whole matter of people behave properly, in quotes, anywhere but at home. And I don't know why it is the case. So we're still on the mental aspect of change. Let me, before you come on, please, let me bring in Akin from Atonota. Good morning, Mr. Akin.
Hello, sir. Good morning. You are asking of the option, what option next, sir?
Yeah.
To be frank with you, it may sound funny, but for the three of you there, the option for us in this country, sir, is to have Donald Trump in most of the Western countries. Let them change the color of their currency. Before God and man, you see Nigeria turn around. Because our leaders will run back home with their children. And all their roots will be back in this country before you know it. That's the only option, sir. Thank you and God bless you.
So,
nice one. Nice bit of relief. By the time Donald Trump is in charge in America, he's thrown out all those people who is
the
not
same thing
American.
The same thing.
Yes,
they all come back home.
They all come back home.
Then
Nigerian.
You already, when we obfuscate issues, we will be in more trouble. We are talking of where this mental change should start from. It has to start from leadership, because it is the leaders that send our monies to Switzerland. It is the leaders that send our monies to America. I don't have any account in America. There is hardly any political leader in this country that has not stolen money and hidden it somewhere. I said sadly, I didn't name
supposedly.
I didn't name anybody.
Yes, I did.
So
you
don't
didn't.
quote
No,
me.
I understand you. And I'm reminded as you are speaking about the time in this country when the president, the guy who was the #1 guy in this country, what he could drive officially was a 505
Besides,
car. Remember that time?
Besides, even our president Buhari went outside the country and said that we are very corrupt people. So basically, what am I saying? We need mental change of leadership and followership will follow. But if we are just making it as a general thing, we don't know where to start or to say, with due respect, that is with you, is with me, is with this. Let me tell you,
You think
these
the
countries
leadership
you are
needs to show, lead
these
by
countries you
example.
are talking about,
Yeah.
that Nigerians behave well. It is their leadership that put things in place.
Their institutions
those
ensure that.
institutions are headed by people.
Yes,
They are not.
You guys are saying that the leadership is,
No,
the
I
leadership
disagree.
is primarily at fault here by not showing us the
Good
example,
example.
Yori,
and by
But
not,
me,
by not walking the talk.
That is it.
I'm a practitioner.
Yes, that is
Let me quickly bring, it's the nature of the program. Let me bring in who is on the line. Moses is calling in from, good morning, Moses.
Good morning, Mr. York.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning to the panelists in the studio there.
good morning.
I just have a simple contribution to make.
Good.
Your panelists are right on one point based on my own view, but on the other end, I think our major problem is a function of our education. Because the way we think sometimes, we are blaming leadership. The next leader we are going to have, set of leaders we are going to have today, they are followers. What will be their mode of thinking when they get into leadership position? Leadership begins at all levels. So I think we should go back and begin to look inward. That is my own view as a youth.
Yeah.
The way we think is a function of our education. Okay. Our next set of leaders are followers today. Tomorrow, today they are blaming the leaders in position now. Tomorrow they'll get in there. The same set of people behind will begin to blame them. Are we going to continue in this routine? When are we going to change? When are we going to transform into the next level? That is just my own question this morning.
Thank you very much, Ahmed.
You see, these leaders, they didn't come from Mars. They are part and parcel of the Nigerian society.
Which is the point that he just made.
Yes. And like if I will key in on the educational aspect, I graduated in 1986 as a mature student. And as at that time, the United Nations had already recommended that all the developing nations of the world, especially in Africa, should devote 26% of their annual budgets to education. Nigeria, since that time till now, I don't think we've gone beyond, maybe if you are generous at all, will be 15%. And if you don't train your youth, then your future is very, very bleak, as we are experiencing now. The kind of rot that is going on in the system, we are going to hand them over to our children. And some people are now saying enough is enough. They have been called names. Because if you don't, any drastic ailment need drastic surgery. Okay. And me, I say it everywhere. I don't believe in democracy as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Okay, change.
Because those who change their societies, they didn't go through democratic rules.
Okay, but change that is on paper and not in practice is going to be a problem. It might be a spurious example, but I remember, as I said, when the #1 man in this country was not allowed by policy to drive more than a 505. It speaks volumes. That kind of mindset, the National Assembly will not even tolerate it. But let me quickly bring in who have I? Well, he was a Nigerian, and it was Mazi from Abia State. Mazi Okoroafo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. That's Comrade Mazi Patrick Okoroafo of Haruchuku. Good morning, Mr. Yori, and our guest Barakat Salah. You see, Nigeria, as a country, we should resource our wealth within our locality. Now, what am I to see? We are saying beyond oil. So we pray that the oil will not end one day. There is no village in Nigeria that doesn't have natural resources. Now, you ask yourself, why are those natural resources being wasted? Like in my place, we have what we call ogwabara. Ogwabara is vegetable. You ask yourself, can't our people store it? But because they lack this storage facilities, you come to Plateau State, we have tomatoes, all these are good for human beings to move naturally. But because of lack of storage facilities. Now we talk about entrepreneurship. We have ITS, Industrial Training Firm, we have Center for Management and NGE. All these things to at least help Nigerians train individually after school, that's after secondary school. At least when you train into their enterprise in class, you equip them. How do you equip them? Our senators, House of Reps, House of Assembly members should, that is give all these our boys and girls small finance. It will help them. By the time you give them now, you are not empowering everybody. Before you come to government, say everywhere you have an economy that is bubbling. But
all right then. Thank you very much, Mazi. I got to interrupt you. I beg your pardon because we've run out of time. But closing thoughts, Madam Jaji.
Well, what I know is, like the president said, and I key into that logic. The change, whatever we are talking about, starts with the individual. You can imagine a very educated man driving against the traffic. I will now say, my friend, why you say Benue song? Is that not? Is he a leader? He's not a leader.
Okay, then.
There is a member of the public.
So it goes back to
another
internalizing the
will now
change.
say, because that man has done it. He's
why
not a
can't I?
political leader.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's not about politics, it's our individual orientation to societal development. We should re-examine it.
And in
And
other
its
words,
value.
our whole mental attitude, sense
Good.
of values that Bimbola was pointing
Yes.
out. Closing
Quickly,
thoughts.
United Arab Emirates.
Sure.
They declared Abu Dhabi administrative capital, declared Dubai economic capital, declared Sharjah cultural capital. In their development, you know how long oil will last when they will build a particular thing. So what's our model? If we want to go beyond oil, planning 1, 2, we need to develop a model and begin implementation. And there should be leadership by example.
Okay.
With that, we can move on.
These ones they are just ready.
Very, very basic.
They are not interested in governance.
We just need to get hold of those basics. Thank you very much, Malam Moyo Sore Ahmed
going back to
Jaji.
the trenches.
And
Anyway.
thank you, Barrister Chuku Emeka Eze.
Thank you.
I'll be back tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.